Well, let's go ahead and get started with our webinar. What do you do when engineers can't find product data? So for the agenda, we're going to just talk a little bit about who Geometric Solutions is and essentially how can we help you. But then the big part of this is all of us have asked questions like, where are my drawings? What version should I be using? Or when I open my assembly, I'm only getting a third of the parts. Or how come these parts weren't made appropriately? That's happened to all of us. And that's why you've joined this webinar, because you too want to find a single source of information. And that's what our webinar is going to touch on today. Our presenter today is Curtis DeSaley, the Director of Technology, and he is a whiz when it comes to taking software and taking quality items, taking processes, all these complex things, and breaking them down into a nice, simple solution. And let's give him our attention as he helps us to understand, what do we do when we can't find our data?
Hey, Dan, thanks for the introduction. You may not know of us, but we're part of the Waltonen family. Waltonen Engineering, we're based out of Warren, Michigan, a suburb of Detroit. We have a couple of engineers, a couple of hundred engineers that do product and manufacturing designs using the tools that Geometric Solutions sells. In addition, we have independent tooling and manufacturing team that makes some of the tools that Waltonen designs, and they use some of the software products to make those products. So Geometric Solutions sells products that are used in engineering and manufacturing today. The owner of our company, Lloyd Brown, has said, our ability to successfully partner with our customers come from our experience in using the tools we sell every day. We're, this engineering firm and this tooling firm, we have to make money, we have to be productive. We use these tools and we have to be profitable using them. So we have experience with the tools, not just selling. So let's get to our topic. What do you do when engineers can't find product data? So there is a poll that was done by Tech Clarity, and they surveyed over 2,000 manufacturers, and they say best in class manufacturers spend 25% less time on non-productive data management tools. Basically, 25% of their time is not being productive. So if we look at, well, there we go, a calendar, we start talking, if we took out 1 day a week, of non-value added time and gave that back to the engineering team, it'd be helpful. And a lot of this time is spent for searching and finding data and making sure it's correct. So, whether you're using SolidWorks, Siemens NX, or any other of the major CAD systems, you may think the system you use today to find, share, and reuse designs is good enough. But let's consider what a strong PDM system can do to streamline product development and drive business excellence. At a fundamental, PDM offers data control, rights to protect your intellectual property, effective search and drive reuse, workflows to stream efficiency, and the ability to share data and collaborate business-wide, supporting multi-CAD designs, improving quality, and tools to reduce errors and speed time to market. Really, it's all about time. The time your engineers waste today searching for and recreating product designs and data. And every day they spend on interruptions from other people across your business who need access to those designs and data. It's about getting that time back. According to Tech Clarity, these 2,000 manufacturers that they talk to, they estimate that's 25% of their engineers' time is spent doing this. So let's come up with a definition. What do we mean by PDM? PDM, product data management. It's managing your product data. You may think the system you have today to find, share, and reuse design is good enough. Let's consider what a strong PDM system can do to streamline product development and drive business excellence. At a fundamental level, the PDM offers, you data control. It offers you control of your designs, your documents, your bill of materials, and workflows to push that through the system. And it's functionally the first layer of what we call PLM. Now, what is PLM? Product Lifecycle Management. And it's the complete life cycle of your product. So here we have a PDM that manages your design, but PLM can manage requirements, service requirements, manufacturing, suppliers, quality, costing, sustainability, systems integration. It's the complete life cycle of your product, but PDM is just focusing on the foundation, of the house, which is really the designs, the bill of materials, and supporting documentation for that design. So let's talk about that. Managing today's products is not as simple as keeping track of your design data. Other documentations, that you need, supplier data, manufacturing information, customer requirements, and more have an impact on what an engineer needs to do. In many cases, the engineers find themselves searching through irrelevant information to find the design data they need to work on. And once they find something, they often have to find out if it's up to date or obsolete. And then often they struggle to figure out how they got to this point and why was this piece added or deleted or modified? And where exactly does it need to go from here? So with PDM, we can help you find it, understand it, and specifically understand the context of what you're working on without wading through any irrelevant information. You find exactly what you need. It's a single source of truth. And then you need to know what to do with it. So I find what I need to do, but I need to know what I have to do next. So, we've identified 4 major steps in the path to excellence. It all begins with a close look at what you're doing today. Looking how you manage your CAD data, stop wasting engineering time, make a fresh start, and adopt the right size PDM. If you're like many companies, you'll be using file servers and local desktop drives to manage CAD data. These files are likely in their native CAD tool format, which is not easily accessible to anybody but the designer using the CAD tool. About the same number of companies have either one or multiple PDM systems. Multiple systems are one of the roadblocks to managing better data. It's time to consider what it would take to get a single integrated PDM or PLM system. So one of the questions we have you ever found more than one copy of a part and wondered which one is the current release? Dan, you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm still having nightmares over this question. I worked at a large truck manufacturer, and we were using Windows Explorer to manage our data. And so everybody had their own folder, and there was a part that we needed, and wouldn't you know, it was in the released folder, but then there were newer versions in some of the other engineers' folders. And so we had to take the time to actually open up each one of these, try to figure out which one is right. And even to the point of going onto the shop floor and seeing, okay, which one's right. So yeah, I've had a lot of wasted time, certainly more than 25% wasted due to this question.
One of my favorite stories going along that analogy is we're looking for parts and trying to figure out the latest one, but we knew, this gentleman, I'm going to say his name is Bob, did the work. So we went up to Bob and he said, "Hey Bob, which is the latest?" "Oh, it's right here." "Oh, fudge, I forgot to rename it. It's called Bob's Test." And that was the latest one because he was testing it out, but forgot to change it when he released it. So, we never would have found it. It wasn't named part number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was called Bob's Test. So
I think I work with that guy too.
Yep. Was his name Bob? Oh, sorry. So what we want to do is stop looking at wasting time. So let's look at the cost of methods of managing CAD data and other product related data. If you're in the 26% of companies with designers spending more than 20% of their time on non-productive data management tasks like searching, organizing, or locating files for other people, That can add up to 1 full day of work per week for each designer. I mean, that's a lot of time. Even if your designers are spending less time with this managing of data, when you consider how much you pay each design engineer, it's easy to see the cost of non-productive data management tasks to your system. So here's an example of the productivity improvements our customer Sparkstronics realized with Teamcenter Rapid Start. Their designers can now concentrate on design rather than storing, searching, and retrieving data. They've reduced design time by 25%. So that's, quite an improvement. And it's real life. So before I said it was about time. Well, time is money, right? So now you can see the conversation is really about money. If I can gain 20% more productivity for my engineering team, you're looking at 1 more day a week for them to drive innovative designs and product development into your business. So if you're questioning your current systems and processes, it may be time to make a fresh start. The business of PDM has changed dramatically in the last few years, with a generational shift to redefine PDM beyond CAD data management, including capabilities to be more integrated and interoperative, whether it's across multiple CAD tools or integrating more components of designs like electrical and software. A single PDM system can be the center of your business, helping everybody keep track of every bit of information that defines and describes the product through its development. Let's look at the differences between companies that use a single PDM system and other companies. From improvements in design reuse, reduced development time, and less time wasted, these are the types of improvements you can see in your business when you deploy a single PDM system with a single source of truth. The key is to find the right size PDM to meet your business needs for today and be able to grow with you as you grow in the future. So let's look at what I'm talking about when I say the right size PDM. For starters, you can deploy it quickly with a quick payback with limited to no IT experience. You need to consider the software capabilities. Are they right for you? A full-featured PDM system can support your whole business from product development to delivery, with the flexibility to fit your people and processes. As your businesses grow, right-sized PDM can grow with you. Scalability is key. So you can add more people, locations, or collaborate more closely with your customers or your suppliers. Right-sized PDM is a choice for business excellence today and in the future. Excuse me. Now let's take a closer look at our solution, Teamcenter Rapid Start, which is the right-sized PDM to get you started today and cost effectively today. Now, I call it Teamcenter Rapid Start. This is Teamcenter, but it's pre-configured for a rapid start deployment for small to medium-sized businesses, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. The secrets to streamlining product development with Teamcenter Rapid Start begin with a look at the PDM's capabilities. But the best kept secret is our fast time to market value. We'll show you how you can get into production with Teamcenter Rapid Start within a couple of weeks for a fast return on investment and payback in less than 6 months. So let's talk about these 3 bullets one at a time. Increase efficiency by over 20%. With Teamcenter implementations, we see this 20% efficiency within months of deployment. It comes from reclaiming non-value added time or time spent searching for data, recreating data, or re-entering data. We have a powerful search engine capabilities to fight information overload. Data and processing, so basically how does Teamcenter Rapid Start simplify the search? Data and process information is connected in a transparent way that makes it easier to find what you need. You don't have to know how one piece of information is connected to another, but the power of this connected information is to find everything you see. If you're looking at a part, you don't have to go find off and search for the latest geometry. It's there. If you're editing a document, you don't have to wonder if it's been approved. You can clearly say its status and history. You don't need to see the requirements driving a software change. It's there. You don't waste time searching for the information. With easy, intuitive search capabilities, They can be accessed from any web browser or any smart device. Users can quickly find their data, extract the data they need, and also understand and see all the relevant links of one piece of data to the other pieces. So this way they understand and have visibility to the entire breadth of the data that defines the product or item, along with the visibility to any changes as they occur. So, ever wonder why we made that change to the part last year? This is a question, people get asked when they see a change. Dan, has this ever happened to you?
So this is not just a story or not just made up. I worked at a company where in the
So you're
revision
telling me
block,
the last one was made up?
yeah, no,
I'm
I
sorry.
wish, but this is so shocking. In the revision block, it said redesigned and redrawn. And it wasn't that it was just a Rev B, it was down a couple. Well, why? What happened to this thing? And so that little part, it caused everything else around it to be in question. Was it actually going to work? And kid you not, it actually said redesigned and redrawn.
Yep. Yep. It's amazing why, changes. And I've just seen updated or something simple as that, but they never say what they changed. And you have to find out what's different between the versions. It's an interesting dilemma when you don't know why things have changed or why the part's in that condition, and you're being asked to improve it again. And not knowing its history, you may undo something that was already fixed.
Yeah, and even just adding to that, because the company wasn't using a good PDM system, it wasn't easy to go back and look at the history of the part to figure out what changed because they were archiving the files. So it was a whole process just to figure it out. I wish we had a tool like Teamcenter at the time.
Yep. So, all right. Well, I think that's enough theory and talk. Let's actually see what the Teamcenter actually looks like here. So, the adaptive use of Teamcenter allows you to quickly get your jobs done using suggestive search and other functions. So you can see here a little Pareto chart of our items in here. We went from purchase to electrical to parts made by Ed. We're just going down and we're just driving down. I want to compare parts. I can select a few of these different motors to actually see which is the one I want to use. I can look at all of them and I can actually do compare functions. It's kind of like a modern Amazon website where I can see things, except for it's in 3D. When I look at a specific part, I see this 3D entity. I don't care what CAD system it is. In PDM, I can see it. So I don't have to be a CAD jockey to do this. A purchasing person or a program manager can look at it without a CAD system. I see revisions, history, relationships, what it's being spec'd to, what it's being attached to, whether it's CAD files or drawings, revision levels. I can actually see all these links to my part, and it's pretty simple to track down and go up and down these trees, as you can see here. The relevant links are right there. Here's a bill of materials for this assembly, and I can see these, and I can actually inquire into more detail on that subassembly. For every one of these parts, I can see a history. So I can see the version A and the version B. I want to compare what the differences are. I can see the differences. So it's going to give me on the left that between the two different assemblies, version B has a couple of extra parts, and it happens to be a battery pack and an upper cowling, where version A didn't have it. So I know exactly what changed. So I can tell that information right from my system. Here's the bill of material for the assembly. I can actually see the 3D assembly. And this is, not CAD. This is Teamcenter showing this. And, it's a fairly simplistic visualization tool, but you have to be a CAD person to see this because you can see I'm clicking on the details in the tree. I'm sorry, in the 3D object, and it's highlighting it in the tree. If I want to do simple things like cut sections, I can, and it's a fairly simple task to do that anybody who has Teamcenter can do it and see it. So jumping out of that, you saw I hit an inbox there. This tells me I have tasks to do, and I can see what those tasks are. I have an increased drive capacity thing. And if I look at my preview for what's being done, it actually has highlights. It tells me what the tasks are. I can actually see markups that came from the original requester. So I can see the change notice, which was basically the approval to do things, what the request was, and that drives an engineering order. So I can actually drive down this engineering order that's basically approval to work from the change that was requested, and where it is in the process, where things have gotten done, so I can actually break down all that, what parts are being revised, what parts are becoming obsolete, some reference information. So I can see all that. And in this case, I'm doing it's a workflow, and I'm actually approving that everything's there so I can move on to the designer. So I now approve the task and I move down the workflow. So this is a very simple tool. It shows you the relevant information you need to know at that moment. Similar to, I'm going to say Amazon, where you go in there and say, I want to look at clothes, I want to look at men's clothes, I want to look at pants, I want to look at ugly golf pants. You can keep burrowing down, and the information you're being presented at that time is relevant to what you're working on at that moment or what level of detail you're at. So quite impressive what the tool can do. So here's a quote from, PowerX that talks about the productivity gain and how they've seen up to 20%. But, it's based on how easy it is to search and find data, and how these 12, the small team of 12 users found a 20% reduction in their labor just because they've used this tool. So it's quite powerful. So let's go on to that second bullet. So we've seen how the powerful search capabilities of Teamcenter Rapid Start. Let's talk about how easy it is to access PDM inside your CAD system. So, I was showing it standalone mode, but you can actually access this from inside your CAD system. So your CAD designers basically change their file open dialog box, and they're basically talking to Teamcenter versus going to the local file directory. So it just puts PDM at the fingertips of the designers. And I'm actually going to show it with SolidWorks. Now, that's a competing product to the Siemens lines of tools, but I'm going to show it to you just to show you how well it integrates with all the major CAD systems. So, this Teamcenter interface, excuse me, integrates directly with SolidWorks, and all these major CAD systems integrates directly in, and it becomes seamless. And it gives the CAD software a full range of the PDM capabilities. Users can easily access the functions such as search and reuse, structured workflows, change management processes, design relationships, all within their native CAD authoring environment. To help maximize the designer's productivity, the integration enables designers to create, save, search, edit, and that includes not only the 3D CAD, but drawings, parts, assemblies. Users can selectively update in-session models to later versions or revisions without, reloading their entire assembly. During the design process, the Teamcenter environment tracks and manages the creation of new product revisions or, just new products updates for work in progress. As a result, the designers spend less time finding the correct versions of SolidWorks data. To further improve designer productivity, the Teamcenter integration supports the bi-directional transfer and synchronization of model properties that are helpful when establishing the product structure. So a lot of these attributes go into Teamcenter and come back to the CAD design and vice versa. Teamcenter can automatically generate and saves this neutral file format, including PNG, PDFs of the drawings, and JT file formats. JT files are an ISO standard CAD neutral format widely used for 3D visualization. That was the 3D CAD we saw inside Teamcenter. So if you have files in several different CAD formats, you can build an assembly in Teamcenter using those files. That assembly can be viewed, interrogated, and marked up by anybody with the right credentials and permissions. Now, let me show you how this works inside Teamcenter or inside SolidWorks. So here we have SolidWorks, and we're going to use SolidWorks to actually make a change. So inside SolidWorks, I got a little tab here that opens up Teamcenter, and you can see it looks like prior. So here I want to add, this task is I want to add a battery to this drill assembly. So I just type in the word battery, and I have different things that say battery. So I see the battery pack I want. Literally, I drag and drop it from Teamcenter, and I place it into SolidWorks. It's that simple. It's drag and drop. There's no tough interface, and there's no file insert and multiple dialogues. It's drag and drop. Makes it very easy to work on. Now, it drags and drops it in space. I got to place it. So through the magic of a video, it saves it into the correct location. But now I want to create a drawing of this. So I'm going to create a new drawing. And when I create the drawing, some standard SolidWorks function, but you can see the assembly has the battery on it, which is great. And, now that I've created that, it goes to Teamcenter and says, hey, wait, you're making a new drawing for this assembly. Is that okay to do? And Teamcenter says, yes, it is. And it creates a drawing file associated with that revision. So if I go to save it, it wants to save both the drawing and the 3D CAD assembly, the bill of materials, and away it goes. Teamcenter managed that for me. I didn't have to do anything special other than, start creating and answer some questions. So now I'm back in Teamcenter, and I launched the PDF that was created when I automatically saved it. And you can see inside Teamcenter, I have my new assembly, my new drawing, and it's all inside Teamcenter with this new battery. And it was quick, simple, and painless. And literally, as long as I was on the screen here is as long as it took. So, excuse me. So now let's take a closer look at how Teamcenter helps you manage change inside SolidWorks. With direct access to change management, there's no need for secondary applications. Change notification be delivered directly within SolidWorks application, and the relevant data necessary, is included for the change. This streamlines the change process and improves users' productivity through the process. So let's take a look at this. So here I have my inbox. I have a task to do, perform a change. Now I got to add a handle, that same assembly. So I'm going to look at the details for it. And it gives me the engineering order that tells me what to do, the change notice and the request. And it says this assembly needs to be modified. So let's take a look at that. And that's the assembly we were just working on. So here's my 3D view of that part. So that's that same assembly we just had with the battery pack on it. And we need to add a handle to that. So what I want to do is add a child to this assembly. And I'm going to put in a non-drawn thing. This is going to be Loctite. So I'm going to search for the Loctite so I can attach this bolt. It's not something that shows up in the CAD, but it's something in the bill of materials. So the EBOM, the electronic BOM, the CAD BOM inside Teamcenter will include the Loctite. Also, the bill of material will have it. It'll just be a non-CAD related item. So now what I want to do is launch that into SolidWorks, and you can see that assembly showed up inside SolidWorks. And now the new part that I want to add is this handle that was already in my work order. And I'm going to add that handle, and you can see it shows up here. And do I want to check it out so I can put it in there? And yes, I do. So I want to check the assembly out, because before it was just shown to me. Now that I have it checked out, I can make a revision to it. And I can make that handle, and which I did nice and simply. And now I'm going to save the assembly. So when I save the assembly, I'm going to get a dialog box that says, yep, I checked that out. I want to check it back in. I want to check the handle out. And away it goes, and it checks everything back in with a new revision. So what's kind of nice here is if I look inside Teamcenter, and remember that drawing we created that had just the battery on it that just came up a moment ago, and that was for that assembly? I just updated the 3D CAD, the drawing updated, the PDF was created, all simply and quickly by just answering a few questions and interfacing with Teamcenter. So the automation helps make this very efficient. And you saw that drawing had the handle in it, and we didn't actually open up the drawing and save it. We told it to do that, but it was not anything that was manual tasks done by the operator using the tool. So, here's how Briggs & Stratton describes their value of using Teamcenter inside SolidWorks. Teamcenter is a fairly advanced data management tool, much more advanced than anything that SolidWorks users would be used to. But it's very easy to use because it's embedded right within SolidWorks, and they can use it or they can get it to be used very easily. So it's you know, a lot of people have used this and they've had phenomenal success with it. So in addition to SolidWorks, Teamcenter Rapid Start is tightly integrated with all the major mechanical and electrical/electrical CAD tools. With Teamcenter inside the design environment, users can be comfortable in the system which they are accustomed to and still get the benefits of having the PDM system integrated with it. So here we have a bunch of the major CAD platforms that we integrate with. Here's all the electrical ones that we integrate with. And what you're going to see here on the next slide is, come on, there we go. Oops, I hit the button too fast because it didn't go. So here I actually have, all right, come on, launch. I'm not sure why they didn't launch. So there we go. So you can see I'm embedded in CATIA. We're embedded in Autodesk for electrical design. I got Mentor Capital. I got Altium Designer. You know, Teamcenter, you can see the dialogues are little difference because the different CAD tools do it differently, but it's embedded in. So you're using the interface that the designer or engineer is normally using. It just has this extra add-on interface for Teamcenter. And it's totally integrated and it works within the native CAD system, so it's not that much of a change for the designer to use. One of the benefits of managing CAD data in Teamcenter is to take advantage of the JT file format. JT is a common, open, and published lightweight 3D representation of your CAD data. JT files can be automatically generated and then used to easily communicate, collaborate, and share information both internally and with your external partners and suppliers. You know, it's an open standard that has been accepted by ISO and is publicly available specification. You know, oops, I'm sorry. Through our CAD management functionality and JT viewer capabilities, we're able to provide the true multi-CAD environment. We understand that a product may have different sources across different domains, some parts developed internally, other parts through suppliers, etc. With multi-CAD data management, you can manage a single product with components originating with multiple CAD systems. So, you know, if I'm going to look here on the left here, you know, these different colors are different CAD systems come from different groups. What's unique is when it comes into Teamcenter, these JT files are created. And if I launch my design, so let's say I'm doing the red parts here, I launch that, all the other parts come across as a JT file inside my CAD system. So if this CAD system here is SolidWorks, like I was using earlier, these other parts come in as JT and I have reference to them. I can't edit them, I'm not going to change them, but I have them in my CAD file so I can see them, interface to them, mate to them, line up holes, whatever the case may be. But I have that information referenced inside my assembly. If this was a company that had multiple CAD systems, so one group uses NX, and if the NX team is doing this one in gray, all these other parts would come in as JT files and they would be able to reference it. So inside my own company, if I use multiple CAD systems, I can have the other parts come in, I have them as reference, and I can design my parts to make with my team members. For non-CAD users, Teamcenter can actually be accessed from any web browser or smart device. But for Microsoft Office users, there's a Teamcenter toolbar that'll be right inside the Office application that's extremely intuitive with commands like open, save, submit to workflow, and other operations. You can just open up Word or Excel, as you normally do, and you can do your save to the secure Teamcenter encrypted volume instead of saving to a network or local drive. This immediately puts your documentation into the managed environment where you can take advantage and and review of the review workflows and the benefits of Teamcenter. What's nice is I can actually put documents in and associate it to actually product design. So I'm going to look at this fork here that's part of this bicycle or bike. I can actually put this document and, if it's an FEA study or if it's a DFMEA, I can associate it right to the design, and that way my team knows that the support documentation for that product design is associated to their parts. So, Dan, ever wonder if your supporting documents were updated for the new product change?
Yes, with all the other problems that we talked about in the first two questions, it makes us wonder, what about the support docs? Are they up to date? Throughout the design process, they haven't been. So why would they be now?
Yeah, I've seen changes go through and nobody updated a DFMEA, and the change was not maybe the most robust for design failures, the DF, in the process. So if the DFMEA would have been done, maybe this change would have been different, but because the updates weren't there, you didn't know about it. With Teamcenter, I can actually know about it. And in my workflow, I can actually force a fill in, supply me with a new DFMEA or a new FEA study or CFD study or whatever the process is that I need that's critical to my design to make sure that team is aware that that change has to happen, and they can test it and give feedback to the team before the design gets finalized.
Yeah, that's great.
So here we are in Word. I'm going to open up a file from Teamcenter. So I do my Teamcenter open, and I'm going to get it from some files that I already have set up in here, and I'm going to check it out so I can actually move it. So this happens to be product documentation that goes with the product, and I can add text, which is great. And now I can actually go and save it back to Teamcenter, and it puts it in. It's currently checked out. Do you want to, check it back in? And it does. So, I mean, instead of working directly to, excuse me, a file directory, I'm doing it right inside Teamcenter. Here, I'm actually releasing this, so I can go to my workflow process and actually physically release this into the system. Once I release it, it can never be changed inside Teamcenter. It can be revised, but that release will never be allowed to be modified other than through revision. So if this is at release A, it has to be release B for revision. So that, locks it in so people can't overwrite it and by error or intentionally change things and lose the history. So now that you've seen many ways people can access Teamcenter from a web browser, inside CAD, or an Office application, let's take a look at Crone Cranes, a customer that has successfully integrated mechanical and electrical design in Teamcenter. So in addition to NX, they have Autodesk Inventor, they have SolidWorks, and then from the 2D side, they have AutoCAD, and the data is used throughout different locations. And they also have integrated all the mechanical CAD solutions, some electrical CAD tools. So all these tools are being integrated inside Teamcenter, and people are being able to work natively in the original format that they were in, which makes them very productive. So lastly, let's just talk about time to value, and get up and running within a few weeks and payback within 6 months. So, with Teamcenter Rapid Start, we offer a pre-configured deployment of Teamcenter. By doing this, we can deploy much quicker than a standard deployment, which allows you to begin with using Teamcenter quicker and recap all those benefits. This gets you to that return on investment sooner. Here's an example about what we mean by fast payback. Here's an example of an ROI for an existing SolidWorks customer that'll be adding Teamcenter Rapid Start. Payback is based on the McKinsey report that states that people spend 2 hours a day looking for data. Considering the additional benefits Teamcenter can provide, this number is conservative. The implementation is a small business installation of Teamcenter Rapid Start, which is just one of the delivery options. There are other on-site and cloud-based operations that can change the formula and rebalance the upfront versus recurring costs. But the bottom line is we can deliver PDM to fit your needs quickly and cost effectively. So let's look at PowerX. They deployed Teamcenter Rapid Start quickly to get control of their design and revision control issues. It only takes a small IT budget and resource to manage the implementation. So they've quoted Aaron Hunter, the engineering manager, stated that Teamcenter Rapid Start is absolutely the right size for a small company. With one engineer and one IT guy, we've been able to support our initial Teamcenter Rapid Start implementation and expansion. So they only had one engineer, and they actually did it, made it work, and we're very successful at it. So now you've seen how Teamcenter Rapid Start delivers the right size PDM to drive greater business growth today. So let's talk about your business growth for tomorrow. Right? With Teamcenter Rapid Start, you don't need to know or anticipate what your PDM needs will be in the future. You simply start what's in the box, what comes out of the box for a full featured PDM environment. But over time, as your needs change, you can extend your deployment to add on more capabilities and interoperability with applications, systems, and partners. As your business grows, you can grow from PDM to Product Lifecycle Management, or PLM. That's why an integrated bill of material becomes important. Often the challenges are a multi-domain change process that's generating an incomplete bill of material, a lack of shared understanding of the product configuration in all its variants, and disconnected manufacturing teams that are not able to access and analyze the information early so they can properly prepare and optimize their processes. The Aberdeen Group states clearly, those who fail to adopt good bill of material management practices risk adding to the inefficiencies and delay. Organizations trying to adapt to the growing complexity of their products should look back to address the challenges of bill of material management. Teamcenter Rapid Start can get you up and running with PDM quickly by offering a single installation process for server and clients, resulting in a fully configured environment that includes standard organization and roles, a pre-configured database, workflows, reports, a robust security model, all ready to use as soon as you complete the installation. Ongoing updates and support for simple, fast, and effective operation is there. And once I have that, I can expand to full-blown Teamcenter and go to a PLM system. So that, the beauty of this, it's a pre-configured Teamcenter version, but after you're up and running with PDM, you can choose to expand to PLM at any time with add-on modules. But once you are a Rapid Start customer, you're always a Rapid Start customer. You can keep your pre-configured and special capabilities, including workflows, users, groups, roles, item types, and reports as you move forward. So everything that you have out of the box, move forward with you and can be kept and improved as you go forward. So in review, we've shown you how we can unlock the secrets to streamline product development with a pre-configured PDM solution, product data management solution, that supports multiple mechanical CAD and electronic CAD tools, establishes a single source of product-related data, provides a growth path from PDM to PLM, deploys quickly and cost-effectively for fast ROI, and requires minimal IT support to maintain.
Great. No, that sounds good. Nice presentation. Everybody that's worked on an assembly that has more than just a few parts has ran into these problems. And I really like the solution that you've shown that can meet or exceed any of the problems that we're having.
Well, I've lived both ways, and I never want to go back. It's like having electricity. Once you have it, you never want to live without it.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I'm right there with you.